Day 2 of our trip, exploring the eastern part of South Africa, namely Mpumalanga. We camped last night at Ruby River Resort. Say that after a couple of beers. Absolutely beautiful spot next to the Olifants River, but busy camp spots do get noisy. Some people go on a little bit later in the evening. We had an early start, so we had an early night, and got up pretty much before 6, packed up. Carl's gone through to a meeting in Secunda, so Vadi, his wife, and I have gone into the cruiser, and we're gonna go and explore, basically leaving the lodge, heading towards Groblersdal, and then hitting the dirt road to Stoffberg onto the tar road for a bit, and then heading to Dahlstrom through the plantations. We're actually in the plantations right now, so decided to stop and have a chat with you. But the footage that we've taken this morning has been spectacular. It's, you know what, like I said, I grew up in this area and have never explored this area. There are so many of these graded, really good conditions. Some of them do get a bit hairy with the rain and so on and so forth, but nothing serious. And these roads are maintained rather well for the trucks to get into the plantations, especially when we get into the pine forest a little bit later. But it's a maze of absolute, desolate, beautiful spots. We've come across maybe 3 or 4 cars so far. We've been on the road for the last, what's it now, 11 o'clock. So we've been on the road for about 4 hours or so. Well, in the plantation roads, and not busy. You can stop. We've actually just stopped right now. Vadi's getting some coffee, and then we'll plug on again. These little routes, if you're coming down to Africa and you're renting one of these vehicles, instead of shooting directly to your destination, take one of these routes. It's so close to Johannesburg and so close to the cities that you can, well, in the background you can hear the guys with the chainsaw, but it's so close to the city. So do a shakedown on your vehicle. You don't know this vehicle, you don't understand the vehicle. It's best for you to take this, spend a couple of days on these routes, get to know the vehicle, and if you've got any issues, you can get hold of the rental company and sort it out before you go off the beaten track. So that's my 2 cents worth of advice. Watch this footage from this morning. It's been absolutely spectacular. This drive is great. I recommend it to all of you. We've had a great morning so far. We've gone through off the beaten track, and I said we're going to end up in Dahlstrom, and the reason why we came to Dahlstrom is because of Harry's pancakes. Now this is legendary. If you're from South Africa, you'll know that Graskop, Sabi, Dahlstrom area, Harry's pancakes is the best in the world. If you're not and you're traveling this route, I suggest that you get to this establishment, whether you're in Graskop or Sabi, or I don't know if they're in Pilgrims, wherever, but Dahlstrom, where we're traveling, follow this route, come spend some time over here and have their savory pancakes or their sweet pancakes. It is to die for. At the same time, when you're in Dahlstrom, the amount of arts and craft places over here, it's just one long street of fantastic shopping, very touristy but worthwhile. So stop in here and then follow the route. So from here we're going to end off going up to Leidenburg, and then we're going to end off at Mankele, where we started the bush to beach track when we went to Mozambique. We're going to end off where we started. So where we started on our last trip, we missed all of this. So the 3-4 days that you're traveling from Johannesburg to Nelspruit, take this route and then you start off the bush to beach and go to Mozambique.
Let me tell you a little bit more about 4x4 Adventures Africa. It's not just a rental organization. I've been involved with Carl with a number of deals. We've got people that are moving from Dubai, shipping their vehicles into South Africa, and then starting their trip from South Africa back to Dubai or back to the UK. And what Carl does is he works as a consultant and assists you with the border crossings, assists you with the paperwork of getting your vehicle into South Africa. He stores a number of vehicles for European travelers that travel, only have a month and then they leave their vehicle in Africa. He stores them, maintains them. So it's not just a 4x4 rental organization. And once again, going back to a family-run business, it's that level of personal engagement is you will not find that if you're renting through Avis or any of the big safari companies compared to what he offers over here. So we utilize them a lot here. It sounds like a bit of a plug, but I believe a plug is due to when you're getting absolutely phenomenal service and the knowledge that this man and his wife have, especially in the southern and East African region, and now moving into West, is it'll take you years and years and years to get that information, and having smooth border crossings and having smooth carnets or visas, it just changes your entire trip. Being stuck at a border for 2-3 weeks at a time, it just spoils the trip. So I would check the description, get a hold of Carl. Him and his wife will definitely give you some tips on how to travel through Africa safely, securely, and most efficiently.
Here we go, fantastic.
Ooh. There you go.
Fantastic. Alright, so we left Dahlstrom, had a great lunch. As I said, Harry's Pancakes is just synonymous for their pancakes worldwide. And we're hitting Long Tom Pass. Long Tom Pass is historical for the fact, if you go back to the original Boer trackers, pioneers of this area, you go looking over there, you can still see some of the old tracks of where they went through with the ox wagons, and came across this place called Hops Hollow. This is the highest brewery in, is it Africa or South Africa? Well, I don't know, we'll find out now. Highest brewery in South Africa or Africa? In Africa. All right, so highest brewery in Africa. The tallest point on Long Tom Pass is about 2,150 meters. We're probably about 100 meters below that. Beautiful little establishment over here. A little bit of a guest house, and I tell you what, the craft beer is not bad at all. So while you're traveling on this trip to end up at Mankele, definitely stop in here. Great fireplace. It's cold over here. We've been battling with the heat down in the lower parts today, and get up here and it's absolutely fantastic. So worth the trip. It's on my Wikiloc. You can see where the location is. We got to Mankele pretty late last night, so set up camp just before sunset. And I'll tell you what, taking the campsite that we stayed at the night before versus this campsite over here at Mankele, they've got a no-nonsense noise policy. So yeah, guys do tend to get together at the campsite and carry on a bit. And for most of the guys that are here, you know, they're coming out and they're coming to do their mountain biking, very active people, and they have a no-nonsense noise policy. So keep it down, respectful, mindful to the other people, and we had a great night's sleep. The other thing that I really like about this campsite is that the river that runs through here, the serenity of that water flowing all the time, and it's a noise dampener as well. So when you are having a conversation early in the morning, the noise doesn't really travel that much. So you could get to hear the birds and the wildlife and the monkeys and so on and so forth. Just, you know, well run campsite. So pretty much this is the end of our trip. I have to head back to Johannesburg. I've got some work commitments that I've got to get back to tomorrow. But if you had the time and you were touring, you would link this and then move on to the national parks and then move on to Mozambique if you needed to. So at the end of this, I will link the Africa, the Beach to Bush show, where it starts at this location. We're going to do a little bit of exploring today, see how much we can get on film. But thanks for watching. It's been an absolutely awesome trip. Discovered brand new places in South Africa that I've never been to, and I wouldn't say that I would say be mindful. South Africa is still safe. If you're camping in paid camp areas, stick to those. Don't wild camp unnecessarily. The road infrastructure is still pretty bad. So try and keep your travel to daytime travel. The potholes on the back roads are the size of these vehicles, so driving at night, it would be a nightmare. You wouldn't see them and you would just damage your vehicle. But other than that, I've had no security issues. We've stopped on the side of the road in the dirt tracks through the mountains, made some coffee, can do some breakfast. As with every overland travel in Africa, be mindful. Always have a person looking after the vehicle. Always look over your back. I mean, that's just the basics. But you will have, if you follow this route, I can guarantee you will have a great trip. There are so many lodges along the way. You don't need to book anything in advance. Just pick one of the hundreds of lodges on the way and go camp the evening and then move on. So that's it from me. Remember, if it's dusty, drive it.